I think the biggest thing is disrespect. The build-up of that can get to a point where someone just feels that they can't live with that person anymore.
Okay, I did see that this brother or this sister wasn't good for me, but ultimately I still went ahead with it.
The one who's willing to walk away from the negotiation is the one who's more powerful in the negotiation.
The reason being because a lot of male suicide is actually linked to the breakup of relationships, and a lot of female traumatic experiences are linked to marital issues.
Men, when they marry, firstly, it's all about looks. And when they marry and realize, I married a shayateen, then they come to reality. They're like, okay, this girl was 10 out of 10, whatever, but she made my life living hell on earth.
So marriage is not a cure for a man or a woman who are addicted to pornography, or a toxic person, or a mummy's boy.
They say a soulmate is somebody who you decide to make it work with. There's no one that's meant to be. It's someone that you decide that you're going to make it work with that person.
I think we need to start looking, like other brother said, closer to home. So rather than looking for role models online, look at home, look at how your dad treats your mum. And if he doesn't treat her right, learn from that. Understand that that's not how I'm going to treat my wife or my husband.
You don't pray salah, you commit major sins, you violate Allah's legislation, and then you're surprised, why is my life? Forget your wife. Why is life not going right? Why is this happening at home? It's direct consequences in sin.
Another thing about a counselor is, by definition, a counselor is not supposed to necessarily tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to judge.
100%.
They're supposed to guide you. They're supposed to help you reach your own conclusion.
When marital disputes happen, the husband or the wife goes to somebody else, and now they're giving advice based on their marriage and their standards. And they're like, brother, yours is bespoke for you.
Lots of men are married to women who do not wear hijab, right?
Yeah.
And then later on down the line, it's like, put your hijab on.
IslamNet is raising funds to establish a masjid and community centre in Norway, and they urgently need your support. This donation will be a sadaqah jariyah for you, because every person that comes a step closer to Allah through your donation, you will inshallah be reaping the reward. Click the link and donate what you can. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Hope you guys are well, inshallah. Welcome to another episode of the Bitter Truth Show. We'll be discussing a very, very important topic which is affecting everybody globally, especially the Muslim community, which is the breakdown of the family unit. Why is that happening? But before we start, brothers and sisters, on the panel, the bitter buzzers are there. If you have a disagreement with somebody, just press it and they'll have... No, that is invalid. No, you don't, with the champ, you can't do that. Does it even work? Why isn't it working? Oh, press it properly. You broke it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When it has papers on it, it makes a different sound.
I didn't touch it though. Okay, so the topic at hand is basically the breakdown of the family unit. Why are marriages breaking down? So if you disagree with someone, you press it. They have 1.5 minutes. Please don't interrupt that person. Let them speak. And after 1.5 minutes, I will stop them. And yeah, no backbiting, no slandering. And inshallah, yes, according to Islamic etiquettes. So the topic at hand is very simple. We know, for example, divorce rates are affecting everybody. I think there was a study done that in America, nearly 40% or 50% of women are single mothers. Yeah, and if we look at 30, 40 years ago, that was about 5%. So we can see where the trajectory is going. Before that, let's just, introduce yourself, inshallah, sister, from Sister Farzan onwards this way. Inshallah,
So my name's Fazana and I'm a relationship coach and a therapist. I work with Muslim women and couples, Muslim women and couples, to help them, guide them through their relationship. So it can go either way. So it can be a marriage that has to end or a marriage that can be saved. So I work with...
So, mashallah, you're at the front lines, alhamdulillah, battling this.
Alhamdulillah.
So it'll be very insightful. Sister Ira?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Ira Dean. I work in a school and I have first-hand experience being a single mum.
Yep, and sister, I've got your name?
Sister Rizlan.
Sister Rizlan.
So I'm Rizlan. I work in higher education. I also volunteer supporting members of the Ummah navigate the legal system in the country with regards to family and divorce. And I also have experience with being a single mum, but also being divorced as well.
Okay. And Sister Dopamine?
Well, I go by Dr. Dopamine, but on here you can call me Sister Dopamine. And I'm a newly life coach that has specialised in relationships, but mainly with people who have had toxic relationships and trauma. And new on social media, so...
I'm Zishan. I'm a YouTuber, educator, journalist. MashaAllah. Allahumma barik.
Hi, my name is Mubarak. So I work in finance and I'm 21. I don't really have experience with like relationship stuff, but yeah.
Yes, and we've got alhamdulillah brother Hijab, inshallah, which needs no introduction. And may Allah bless him. So in a nutshell, guys, let's get straight into the topic. If you think about it, I always talk about taking the aql over the naql, yeah? And I always say this, it's basically taking our logical processes over what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed. Look, guys, you need to understand, sins have consequences. You look at Yusuf alayhi salam, you look at the surah.
Yeah.
It is told that, for example, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not with it. I can't remember the verse. But in a nutshell, meaning that consequences of your sins. Bro, you've got a married couple. This woman, she doesn't even pray salah. And this man doesn't even lower his gaze. Bro, you're in sin. You're swimming in sin. And then you're thinking, actually, the Salaf would say that they would go, and if they knew they committed a sin, argument's sake, they looked, argument's sake, to a woman, they didn't lower their gaze. When they come home, they will see their wife wilding out. They would know which sin connects where. They would know, you know what, bro, it's that sin that I did that I'm seeing it coming out in my wife, in my my riding beast. Meaning what? The point is what? The sins that you commit have an impact. Before these coaches and this, wallahi, have you ever explored yourself going to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you even pray salah? You don't pray salah, you commit major sins, you violate Allah's legislation, and then you're surprised, why is my life, forget your wife, why is life not going right? Why is this happening at home? It's direct consequences in sin. And what we do is we say, oh, I need to go to a marriage coach. Brother, first fix your relationship with Allah. If you've done that, if you're like, you know what, we pray our salah together. Yes, we don't commit major sins. We do all of this. Then I will say, brother, go check a counselor out, man. Just try it. But you don't even do that. How many Muslims are committing sins over sins? What you earn, like the Prophet ﷺ said, he pointed at a man and he said, what he drinks is haram. What he wears is haram. And you want good results. Wallahi, it's mind-boggling, bro. You don't even give the basic haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you come and complain. I'm a speaker's corner. Some sisters come and go, oh, I'm finding it hard to get married. Bro, I ask a simple question. My dear sister, how is your relationship with salah? Do you know what's the reply? And I'm thinking, what the audacity, man. You don't even give the basic haqq of Allah, and you're here, why can't I get married? Why are things not going right? How do you want it to go right? So the first thing is, the crux of the matter is what? Tawheed, your obedience to Allah. Everything from the where you walk towards, what you hear, what you see. Sins have a consequence, and you commit these sins, indulge, and then, oh, my wife is bugging out.
This should actually be at the start of the video.
No, but
we should put this at the start of the video.
This is the start video, bro.
This is very important.
We have the power to edit, yeah? Because we're cutting your bit, definitely. No, joking. No, joking, bro. You know what's actually important? This bit, like, alhamdulillah, this is important, and then what you said is so profound. Then you can say,
can we cut out the marriage with the intent of divorce?
I think you're
Are you reading my heart? So the point is this, yeah, is that what? Wallahi, I swear, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent is haqq. If you guys do that, please, wallahi, the recipes in the Qur'an is unbelievable. The one who created the heavens and the earth is giving you a recipe. If you went to your doctor and your doctor said, you need to do A, B, C, you'd be like, yeah, I need to do that. He knows what he's talking about. The one who created the heavens and the earth is giving you a recipe, you turn your back on it, and then you cry. All I'm saying is very simple. Wallahi, billahi wa tillahi. If you just pray your salah on time, giving zakah, sadaqah, fasting, be good, alhamdulillah, stay away from major sins. Then if you say, you know what, there's some rift, then you can say, now this is human psychology. Okay, some things, okay, go to a counselor then. But before that, you're dreaming if you think you're going to go to a counselor and the counselor's going to fix your problem. The one that's going to fix your problem is the one who's created you. This is the crux of the matter in everything we do, inshallah. So in a nutshell, guys, let's get straight into the topic, which is, why are marriages breaking down? Now, let's start with Sister Farzana, because you are dealing with this head on. So where do you think this is stemming from? And is it most of your clients, are they sisters or brothers?
Sisters.
So you're dealing with sisters. Okay, that's
sisters
fine.
Or couples.
Sisters or couples. Okay, that's good. When you see two individuals, married couple, come in to get this, handle this coaching, what do you see the problem is? Like, because there's so many, like, people say it's because of this or it's because of that. I mean, everyone's putting their finger on something. But from your point of view and your experience, Sister Farzana, where is this stemming from? This divorce, and it's become so rampant. Like, please tell us.
Okay, so if we look on a surface level, when people say, okay, previously there was a topic on whether the husband gives flowers or not.
Yeah.
So that's the surface level we're looking at. We have to go on to a deeper level in the sense that why are these relationships breaking down? So it's not just about lack of romance. It's not just about lack of a physical relationship, all these factors, but there could be factors such as a family dealing with disabilities, where the wife may have a disability, the husband may have a disability, or there might be domestic violence, there might be lack of community support, lack of family support, toxic relationships. So there are many factors to why a relationship breaks down. I think the mistake that we make, the biggest mistake we make, is believing that what it is on, movies, Bollywood, all these kind of things, this is not real life. So we try to compare marriages on most of the time. I'm not saying everyone does. I'm not generalizing this topic at all, but a lot of times it's a kind of going that way. This is what a relationship should be. When we know as Muslim brothers and sisters, there's more to a marriage. It's not just, it completes half your deen, but then there are other factors as well that play a part in what makes a good marriage or what breaks a marriage.
So you would say, I think that's very interesting, because you're basically saying there are these false expectations, this false reality. And I think that plays a big factor, because people are consuming material, which we had a discussion here in the Bitter Truth, which was irresponsible social media couples who are portraying this lifestyle of, and let me tell you something, I know one specific scenario, which this brother, I actually know him now, like kind of personally, is that they are a social media couple, not that big, and after talked about them before, and he gave me his permission. If you go into their Instagram, Wallahi al-Azim, Uqsum Billah, if I said to you, here's a case, there's this brother, he's in the cell, he's been accused of RAP. He's been accused of that. Right. And violence, yeah? RAPE, sorry. Thank you, Zishan. Did I say that? Anyways, thank you. Yes. Anyways, so he's been accused of something very severe, and he's... As well. Huh? Yeah. So the thing is, he's been accused of that, and now he's in a cell, yeah? And then the wife has run off with the child. And if I showed you this, the Instagram account, and I said to you, would you ever in a million years think that these are the two couples? You see what you see here with flowers, roses, everything looks romantic. This is exactly the situation. I went into social media and I was like, this is unbelievable. I showed it to my wife. I said, what do you think about these? They're such a cute couple. Look at them. They're so happy. I was like, he's in the cell. And by the way, she's run off with a kid. Did you know that? Social service involved. She's like, no way. I said, wallahi, I'm on the phone to this brother. So this is the reality that we're dealing with. False expectations and watching, these things and expecting it to be in the real world. What about you guys? Because some of the sisters have been divorced as well. What would you say is the cause of this? Because Sister Farzana has pointed to a very specific issue.
From my own personal experience, and also the experiences that I've lived through supporting others within the Ummah, I think the biggest thing is disrespect. And when it can be a disrespect that happens once and ruins the relationship, or it could be disrespect that's built over time. Usually it's something that's over time from what I've seen. And I think we all have limits as humans to what we can take and how much disrespect we can take. And I think that is probably the biggest factor in relationship or marriages breaking down.
What do you define as disrespect, sister? So just because people can use that broadly.
Yeah.
Sadly, people will take that and they're like, oh yeah, I feel disrespectful. No, it's not. What do you define as disrespect?
So anything that challenges the integrity of the other person.
That's actually a very good definition.
Yeah.
It's a good shorthand, like that you just thought about that as well.
Yeah. So, and integrity in itself is defined. I won't go too much into that, but anything that, so essentially that. The build-up of that can get to a point where someone just feels that they can't live with that person anymore. And when it gets to that point, it's almost a point of no return. And for a lot of the times, it is a point of no return. And it's not something that humans can forget either. It's very difficult to come back from that build up, or even it could just be one major thing that just kind of ruins that marriage, and that will be it. But there are other kind of second place, third place reasons from my experience. I would say probably second place is too much interference, or just interference of external parties. Normally in certain cultures tends to be family members, and it's not necessarily positive input, obviously. It's whether it's like kind of a dictation over how the relationship should be, or questioning why that dynamic is that way. So that can start planting seeds in either the wife or the husband's mind. And, when you start bringing up, oh, my, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that, when there's a third party, even hypothetically involved in your mind, that kind of makes you lose trust in that relationship. So yeah.
Very key.
I was going to say that I like that analysis. I think that was it's a good analysis. In fact, most studies that I've looked at on this matter, because obviously, look, we've got Islamic specific issues, and then you've got like the broader population. There's what is referred to in the psychological literature as the four horsemen of marital breakdown or marital failure. I'm not sure if you've come across this, but this is probably one of the most oft-repeated comments if you look at these studies, actual studies, peer-reviewed psychological studies on marital breakdown. And the four horsemen are the following. First one is criticism, partner criticism. So where the person starts to criticize another person. Now, obviously, every partnership is going to you're going to have criticism happening, right? But if it reaches a certain threshold where you're in the presence of your husband or your wife, and all that's happening is that person's criticizing you or you're criticizing them, then you're creating an atmosphere where it's antagonistic. It's not a proper atmosphere, right? So you feel like you're actually at work in the relationship more than you should be. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, which is connected to it, is defensiveness. So what happens is when you have a conversation with your partner, you always feel like you need to be on edge. You need to defend yourself. You feel like a defendant in a courtroom or something like that. So defensiveness is, you shouldn't feel like, in a sense, every human being needs their safe space to be vulnerable. And if you feel like with your partner that you're always needing to defend yourself or justify or excuse make and this kind of stuff, and that actually can lead to marital breakdown. The third thing is
contempt.
Yes, contempt, right. So like resentment, basically, right? Some psychologists, they do differentiate between resentment and contemptuous nature, but let's just say for the sake of argument, let's use them interchangeably. When someone has this feeling of negativity, this embitterment, and so how they define it in the studies is usually like a negative feeling felt towards the partner for a sustained period of time. So you actually have a negative opinion of your partner. Effectively. Like if you were to objectively be asked, what is that person? You will have more negative things to say about them than positive. That kind of state of affairs cannot last for a long time. And the fourth thing is called stonewalling. Stonewalling is when you're actively ignored. And it's a poor communication technique used by both men and women. Like you can speak to your husband or wife. Let's say, for example, you're speaking to your wife and then she starts not answering you. She's ignoring you now. She's pretending to play deaf. She doesn't hear anything that you're saying. Now, if someone feels ignored in a relationship, it goes back to what you were saying, it's disrespect. Now it goes back to, okay, now I don't feel integrous anymore. I feel like I'm being disrespected. These are the four reasons, like, I don't think they're non-applicable to the Muslim community. I think there's no reason to believe that Muslims are going to have completely specific issues. It could be that, for example, issues to do with the dominant ideologies, equality and something like that, because a lot of them do mention equality. We don't have that kind of managerial equality is clearly a reason, like, for example, feminism. I would say if you did a study in the Muslim community, it'd probably have a disproportionate impact as to how it actually breaks down a family. Abuse, I agree with that. Physical, actual abuse happening from the man to the woman, where he can't control his emotions. Now, anytime he gets angry, he's using his hand. He's getting physical, and she's had enough of it. It makes her sick.
And abuse is not just physical. It
could be
emotional, psychological.
It's true, but then it can become very ambiguous if we use that. Because stonewalling, in a sense, some can say it's abuse. It's abusive behavior. But really and truly, I mean, Islamically speaking, there has to be something. There has to be boundaries. It has to be like, how are we going to define this thing? So yeah, I don't think that there's much more analysis to be made. I just feel like if ever rights and responsibilities are understood, okay, that's one thing. But when these things happen, frankly, guys, I mean, it could just happen because these guys are not compatible. The Sahabis, the companions, they had divorce happening. I mean, it's just because maybe he doesn't like this person, she doesn't like him. There's a very famous hadith of Mughir and Barir and Mughith. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Very interesting, and it kills. I mean, it's one of the worst hadiths for red pill. But yeah, it's very bad. But because basically this guy Mughith, he's effectively chasing after his wife, crying in public in front of everyone for her to take him back. To the point where the Prophet ﷺ went and interceded for him, and he said, "Why don't you take him back?" She goes, "Are you telling me because this is a religious obligation, or are you telling me this as a matter of advice?" He said, "No, I'm only advising you. It's not a religious obligation." She said, "I'm not on it." Effectively, he said, "Okay, leave it be." So he had to live with that pain. The point I'm making is that, I mean, that I'm not saying that's a positive trait here. He shouldn't have done that. That Sahabi, it's wrong behavior from the Sahabi. Just like drinking alcohol from some of the Sahabis is wrong behavior. It's nothing to be following. But I'm saying that at the same time, what you do have is sometimes you just have one party that's on it and one party that's not on it. You feel this person, the other person doesn't feel you. This person doesn't like you. There's no chemistry. It's not happening. So then there's a partner breakdown. And I don't think that partner breakdown is the worst thing that can happen in the world, because then they can find another person.
True, but do you think that's the reasons why, for example, this is happening? Because I don't think these issues. Of course, if people are not compatible and they don't like each other, yeah. But I don't think that's the reason. Like, one of the things is false expectations we spoke about. But Sister Dopamine, and then maybe Zishan. Yeah, Sister Dopamine.
I want to add to the expectations, but I also want to add to compromising on red flags. Okay, so a lot of the people I deal with, they have these issues in the marriage, but in the beginning, they were always there. So like, you have a guy or a girl that might come and say, "Oh, my wife or my husband's doing this now," whatever. And it's like, okay, but in the beginning, when you go back to the beginning, when you met the person, they were doing these toxic things in the beginning, right? So over a period of time, whether it's the woman or the man, okay, I'm just going to use myself as an example. There's things I seen in the beginning of my marriage that I knew that were going to be problematic later on down the line. And I chose to compromise on those things, right? So those things had consequences. And when you have to deal with the consequences over a period of time, a lot of people don't want to accept that this is why you want to now exit the marriage. And it's on both sides, male and female. And I just genuinely think it's the expectations, compromising on red flags, and just seeing that this person is clearly, like you said, not compatible with you. And in the end, ultimately, it's just going to end in divorce. Because like you said, nobody's going to live over a period of time with somebody they're not compatible with. It's just like, oil and water, it doesn't mix, and over a period of time, people find, oh, he's not doing this, she's not doing that. But it's like, but you compromised on that in the beginning. And again, it's accountability, saying, okay, I did see that this brother or this sister wasn't good for me, but ultimately I still went ahead with it, because a lot of people are desperate. A lot of people are doing it for their family. A lot of people are getting married for the wrong reasons. I believe you should get married for the akhirah, not actually for the dunya. Because if you're getting married for dunya, then there's all the little things that come in. Oh, he's rich. Oh, he's got money. Oh, she's pretty. And later on down the line, you see the sister takes her hijab off and she's not pretty. Or the brother ain't rich, he's broke. And a lot of the times this is why people are getting divorced, because of petty stuff, but they compromised on it in the beginning.
But you said something. You said that in the beginning you compromised with
red flags.
You said red flags, and then you said you had to compromise. Sorry if it's personal, but like, is that what ended your marriage?
Yeah.
Okay, then can someone not say, then why did you even compromise? If you knew they're red flags, why did you even compromise, knowing that eventually you're not going to... Because a lot of people say, like, for example, with females, for example, the way you guys are built as well, is you have this perception, that you have this perception where I'll change him. It's this. It's like a masterpiece. 100. I'm going to fix him. You know how you have this, because you guys like adventure and stuff like that. Yeah, is that no? Let's be honest, because it's in your your blood.
100.
Yeah. So we should agree with Sister Dobbin. Yeah. Okay. So then, would you not say then, in that instance, you're picking these men?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
We are the ones. We are doing it.
Then what do we do? Because
I also think that if you really Well, I haven't even said anything yet.
That's why I pressed it. I thought it's just going to go on for ages.
I also think. Okay, do you want to go first?
No.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say I also think that like if a woman is really interested in a man, she'll compromise at a very high level.
100%,
Like,
100%,
and maybe vice versa.
She's really
I'm
pretty,
just,
a man would...
Yeah, but can I just
true,
add? Can I just
unfortunately,
add to what you said?
Yeah.
Remember what I'm saying? It's the consequences of the red flags. Okay. So let me just give an example.
Give it, yeah.
Say a guy, or say I'm a toxic female, right? And I like to argue with my husband and be disrespectful.
Yeah, no problem.
And the guy notices this about me, right, in the beginning.
Yeah.
But she's so pretty. Oh, she cooks good.
Really?
But, he marries the sister based on this really shallow stuff. And then later on down the line, she's not doing this, or she's not being obedient, or she's not practicing, or she's not covering her hair. And it's like, but you compromised in the beginning. Now this is the consequence. So it's either you deal with it or you don't.
Okay, good point. Please remember this point, yeah, because I'm going to touch on an interesting point. Sister Farzan.
On a purely Islamic perspective.
Yes.
Yeah? So, for example, if I get married to a woman, and I say these are my conditions.
Yeah.
Now, she doesn't like those conditions. So what I'll do is I'll say, fine, you have an ultimatum. You either continue in this situation or I'll divorce you. She says, I'm going to continue in this situation. I say, I cannot continue. I say, you're divorced. So in a sense, I've got the trump card. Like in a way, I don't need to compromise with anyone.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like in a sense that if I don't want something, no one's going to force. Even this Sahabiya, this woman, she didn't compromise. She didn't like the guy. She went to the Prophet Muhammad. That's it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's some things I'm never going to... In some cases, the man is more severe, obviously. I've got divorce in my hand.
It's more instant.
Yeah.
A woman is more...
But what I'm saying is that compromise what? I refuse to compromise, actually. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens if I refuse to compromise? Do you know what I mean?
Let's go to Sister Farzana.
You don't get married.
Sister Farzana, I want to come to this point.
It's fine, you can get married and divorce.
Sister Farzana, you've got
touching-
1.5 minutes.
Okay, touching on the subject of compromise, we have to look on a deeper level. Why are these people compromising?
Yeah.
What are their vulnerabilities? What are those hidden traumas and everything that they now think that if I don't compromise, I'm going to end up alone?
Yeah.
And this happens on many occasions.
Yeah.
So not many people think on a level of psychology or neuroscience and all these modalities. So we have to go back and think, okay, who are these people? Why are these decisions being made? And are people who are on that level making the same choices? Are their marriages ending on the same basis marriage would end someone who's not qualified in psychology or counseling or all these subjects? So not just looking at, okay, these people are compromising because they know it all and they've seen the red flags and that's the reason they know the red flags are there and they can deal with them later. So we have to understand, okay.
I think this goes back to...
You've got 20 seconds. I'm so sorry, just so we just...
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I was going to say, this goes back to what we were saying in the previous episode, which is that it's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that they're self-sufficient from the people. If I know, like for me, the most important thing is what I want. I'm going to sound very narcissistic right now. This is my objective in life, let's say Dawah, yeah? I've got a community interest, let's say for the sake of argument. I'm going to get married, whatever. Now, these are my conditions. She doesn't like them. She gets involved and then after 2 weeks, she says, I want you to change your conditions. I say, look, I'm afraid to say, these are my conditions. Now, you do have a choice. You can either continue with them, just like a job. You know, like when you go into a workplace and you sign a contract. If you don't like what you're getting yourself into, then you're fired. Effectively, then I can go and find someone who can fulfill that criterion. The one who has, this is what Robert Greene says in his famous Laws of Power. He says, the one who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. Meaning, the one who's willing to walk away from the negotiation is the one who's more powerful in the negotiation.
Yeah.
So compromise is nothing to me. Compromise doesn't exist in my vocabulary. It's only the compromise that Islam allows, in the sense that I can compromise with a woman. I'm not going to compromise with a woman on like equal basis. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's nothing like that. I fail to compromise. My compromise is no compromise. Do you know what I mean?
No, but we're talking about no. We're talking about people who are vulnerable and where their compromise is coming from. So just not the word compromise. Yeah. It's breaking it down and looking at it from a different angle rather than such and such compromises on this, and so she and he they compromise. So this show is about educating people, not just about talking about certain things. It's about putting that level of understanding out there where someone can watch this show.
Compromise is very important.
What's that compromise on? Like let me give me an example of something I need to like not me, but okay, Muslim man, like what do I need to compromise on? What like do what?
Okay, like for example.
I want to hear it from that.
No. Hold on.
What should I compromise?
When I said compromise, I said specifically on red flags,
Like
bad
what?
things, bad traits, bad
example.
behaviors.
No, they're talking about something else. You're talking about red flag, getting like things that are going to cause compromise is like
Yeah. So in the beginning, people in the
Let me think
beginning,
of something.
they see that people have bad manners, bad traits. They may see something that the guy may show traits of abuse or psychological.
Okay, bro, very simple. Sharp tongue. Look, bro. Look, for example, a lot
Okay, can I
of wives,
just-
like if they have a sharp tongue argument, say she says
She's
things.
saying the man.
No.
I don't know what the man is compromised on.
No, it's just not man. It's both
No,
ways. Like,
no,
for example,
both ways,
compromise.
both ways.
For example, if we know that a wife's
I don't know,
got.
but like I don't want to focus on what the man needs to compromise on first. Like give me an example of red flags so I can deal with like.
Like I said, a sister may come to him
Yeah.
and she's not in hijab, right?
Okay.
She's not wearing hijab.
Yeah.
And then the brother's like, okay, she's not wearing hijab. He's got a problem with it Islamically.
So he can
but
divorce her then?
No, before marriage.
Yeah.
Before marriage.
So he
I'm saying-
gets married and then gives her a conditional divorce. If you don't wear this, then you're
No,
divorced.
not inside the marriage. Before
Yeah.
marriage, right?
Compromise. No, Islamically, that's he's sinful.
No, it's not.
Like no, she doesn't wear the hijab.
No, I'm saying like if he says to her, you have to. There's two things. He's not sinful at all. If he says to her, you wear the hijab and she doesn't wear it.
No, are you not sinful if you marry her and she doesn't wear the hijab and you're responsible from the?
No, I'm not because what do you call it?
So she
I've
carries
told her.
out,
I told her to do it. She's saying no. She's
No,
saying.
I know that.
Yeah.
But if you compromise, are you not sinful? Where you say,
That's
okay,
a
no,
very-
I'm going to put up with your not wearing the hijab.
Well, it depends on the situation. For example, she's Christian.
No. I'm talking
Okay, so there's no doubt. There's in that situation. There's okay.
Yeah.
What if she's a new Muslim and she has very specific situations?
Let's talk about.
Okay, Muslim born. I don't know. That's a very very technical question.
that's
If he says to her, look, I'm gonna put like a timetable in place for you to put the hijab on.
No.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Is that I have to go and ask the Qur'an. I don't know.
No, that is a huge compromise. A lot of brothers compromise on that. If you want to say a compromise from the brother's side, a lot of men are married to women who do not wear hijab, right?
Yeah.
And then later on down the line, it's like, put your hijab on. Okay? So the sister's like, hold on, you wasn't like this in the beginning.
No,
so
no,
why
no,
all of
no.
a sudden, there
No,
are
that has
cases
to.
like this.
So what can he do?
No,
What
they
he
have
can do
to.
is if he's tolerating it, he can say, look, I'll give you 6 months. There's
But-
only two things I can see happening.
But we're
Either he
talking
gives her
about
the
reasons for the marriage
Well,
breaking down,
divorce,
right?
yeah.
So I'm saying that could potentially
Break
be
it
a
down.
reason of a man leaving a woman and saying, look, you're being disobedient,
Yeah.
you're not practicing the way I want you to. But I'm saying in the beginning, right, you compromised on that thing.
So what? I mean, I don't understand the issue here. So he wants this now. She's not doing it.
But
They
it
get
leads
divorced.
to divorce, ultimately. Exactly.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah, that's a cause.
I get dopamine, but what I'm saying to you is, for me, divorce is not as bad as her not putting hijab on anyway. Like if I were to get married to her and then get divorced, it's better. That whole situation, Islamically speaking,
Yes.
is better than her not putting on hijab on.
Yeah. What she's saying is that basically
Yeah,
why a
okay.
marriage is breaking down. She's saying that's one of the reasons.
Because think about the hukm of talaq is jaiz. If I want to divorce a woman for no reason at all, I wake up. It's very sorry to say this. I marry a woman. I spend 2 weeks with her, and I feel like there's no compatibility physically, everything, nothing. Sorry to say, I cannot live with this person. Anti taliq. Sorry to say, I'd rather do this sooner rather than later, because it will hurt you. 3 months down the line. Now, Islamically speaking, there's nothing wrong with this. Do you get what I'm saying? It's led to divorce. There's nothing. She had done nothing wrong, actually. What I'm saying is that divorce is always a bad thing.
No, it's
It's not.
not.
But what we're saying is like what causes the breakdown. So she's.
I'm just talking about one of the reasons why marriage may end
Yes.
is because of people compromising on these specific things.
Yes,
in
you're
the
right.
beginning.
You're right. But Sister Dopin, the thing is, it all goes back to Tawheed. It all goes back to obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know why? Because we hear this a lot as well, like in the circles I'm in, yeah? Like, for example, the sister, she loves her lipstick. And he's at the beginning like, oh, okay, you know what? Because, he's really attractive or whatever it may be, etc. Yeah? And then he's like, hold on a second, bro. You're not going out with lipstick. Yeah? You're not going to have lipstick. Khalas. No, you're not. So the thing is now, then this issue comes with the Western woman side, yeah?
Controlling.
Yes, he's controlling me. The hell is he flipping controlling? What the hell are you talking? He's got boundaries. What do you mean? He doesn't want his wife with a big red lipstick. No, but let's not call the opposite of the show is not to make divorce. We don't want to. You're right.
Okay. So
No. It can be sometimes, but right now we're in a pandemic of divorces. We want to see the opposite, yeah? So I agree what you're saying, but the point is this: that man has every damn right, and if that woman is going to leave him because of that, salam alaikum, bye bye. Because if my basic right of I don't know why go with red lipstick, yeah? Not only that, tight clothes, yeah? These are things where men have to become men. And the point is that this is not even a matter of compromise. Forget this. The point is, I understand that could be, but that is the reason why marriages are breaking down because of petty, ridiculous issues like this.
Sorry, can I just add?
Yes, quickly, and then we're going to go to...
But my point is, basically, in the beginning, like you said, you shouldn't compromise on anything. You shouldn't compromise on boundaries. Everyone should have boundaries and everyone should stick to them. And that's how you will end up in a successful marriage, in my opinion. Because if you in the beginning say, listen, as a woman or as a man, as a rajil, I am not accepting this from you and I'm not accepting that, like the brother here said, you shouldn't compromise at all. I feel like the problem is people are compromising.
Zishan, they are. Like, for example, they are.
The marriage, how it seemed now, how it is now, is different to how it was at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Marriage now is seen as the last hope for a lot of people. Like, it's delayed significantly to 25, 30. You have to get a job. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to put your foot on your desires. So marriage itself, because of the mountain and the effort that's required to climb it, I don't think we should really be entertaining these sorts of things where we're saying that, look, where we're using examples which are anomalies, that are exceptions to the rule. And we're saying that, look, that can also happen, because we have to look at how marriage as an institution it's considered now, it seems now. And for a lot of people, it's the end all, was it the be all and end all? Yeah. The reason being because a lot of male suicide is actually linked to the breakup of relationships, and a lot of female traumatic experiences are linked to marital issues. So I am strictly against the fact that people think that they can enter a relationship. That a lot of people, be it right or wrong, but movies, music, all of these things do play a part, and relationships are held to a high esteem. And whether we like it or not, that's how we need to regard it. We can't change the way society is now. So there's a responsibility. Like there were a lot of kind of assumptions that, okay, and we were going from the beginning stage where we're selecting a partner to then compromising. I say, look, let's just assume from the beginning you have followed the religion, you've spoken to people of knowledge as you're supposed to before seeking a partner and making sure that the boxes are ticked. Yeah. Now that you've done that, now you're going to commit, because there's certain commitments that are actually required nowadays that weren't required, say, 1400 years ago, which is now if a man was to marry and let's just say things don't pan out well, he's losing half of his house. He's losing his kids. Like, life is pretty much over for him. It's going to be very difficult. And for her as well, I mean, the potential for a second marriage and this and that, it's just not the way it is as it was back in the day. So let's just go back and say, okay, when looking for a partner, make sure the boxes are ticked. Okay, now that you're entering the marriage, I'm sorry, you're an adult. You're dealing with a person. They have feelings, they have a heart, and they have a brain. They have a purpose in life. You cannot just play about with that person. I'm just going to I'm just going to star, I'm just going to do this. Look, there's a responsibility now. Yeah. If you're not responsible, with all due respect, like, go live in a cave, isn't it? Like, go do your thing somewhere else. But if you're going to involve another person, you need to be responsible. Now, when you're going to be responsible, you have to understand, or we have to understand that, like the sister was saying, there is a top-heavy kind of influx of the way the media tells us about relationships. That, I think, is a big weakness that we have, because when we're entering relationships, and I'm going to stick with one theme and one theme only, and that's fighting. Yeah, fighting, how we deal with fighting, because there's harmony, then there's disharmony, then there's repair, then the cycle repeats. This is constant, and this will never end. Somebody who thinks that there's no disharmony, their relationship is just not going to function. So, sticking on this point, fighting will occur. many people are deluded. They think, oh, everything's going to be fine. A lot of times in these movies, there's always a big event that happens that brings the couple together. They never show what happens when things are at rest. Normally, when things are at rest, that's when you're sitting with the person. That's when you're speaking to the person. So what happens? It's how you deal with the fighting. It's the repair that's the most important thing. A lot of people are fighting. But how are they fighting? They're throwing things around. Again, we're bringing your 4 horsemen into it. Yeah, the criticism. How are you criticizing the person? Are you, swearing at them? Are you, because contempt is very serious. You're name calling. You're doing all of these sorts of things. I would definitely say to kind of research those 4 things: contempt, stonewalling. These things. Like you'd have 2 couples. Both of them are fighting. But then one couple, they will repair because they have certain principles, certain usul, certain maturity levels at place that, look, we're not going to go to sleep angry. We're going to make sure we repair by this time. And this is a sign of emotional maturity. How long does it take you to reach back to baseline? These are the sorts of questions you need to ask before you're getting married. When's the last time you got angry? And how do you recover from your anger? How long does it take you to recover and reach back to baseline? Because a lot of people nowadays, they do not have the patience. Everything is fast, quick. And then suddenly when it comes to marriage, and sabr. No, that's right. No, it's going to carry on. It's going to spill over. Yeah. So how do you recover? How are you recovering? Stuff like this, there needs to be, you need to go through. You need to read books on this. You need to look at tutorials on this. And you need to make sure you're asking your to-be partner about this before you're getting married. And then when you're getting married, it's not as simple as, okay, I'm not happy with this or this. Okay, now you're committed to that person. Now, I'm sorry. Now you need to take care of them. If there is a weakness, it's not, I'm going to bail now and I'm going to go. I'm sorry, this is not, you're going to meet the person at the finish line. No, you're going to help them now. So some people just wait at the finish line. That's ridiculous. Some people, they're going through a rough patch or something. Someone's passed away, something. Oh, no, he's mentally traumatizing me. What nonsense. I don't feel attracted to him. What's feeling? What the hell is this? I don't feel like this. Abstract thing that no one can quantify and no one knows when it's going to happen. Well, what ridiculous thing is this? That you are suddenly relying on this thing. In fact, when you get married to somebody, how do you know when the feelings are going to change? How do you know? How do you measure that? So we need to be a bit more pragmatic with this, a bit more practical. And that is, when these things happen, have things in place. In fact, the founder of the 4 Horsemen, Dr. John Gottsman, he actually says, amongst other psychologists as well, they said that, and he's got 85% success rate when it comes to divorce. Yeah, he can tell. Predictions. And he says that I was interviewing people and I noticed that if they had a ratio of 5-1, that when they would say stuff about their partner, if there were 5 positive things and 1 negative things, that's the ratio, then they would survive, then it would continue.
Wow,
another psychologist, therapist said, whoever said something negative and then used the word but. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't come home on time, but he makes me laugh. He doesn't do this, but. And the thing is, we're so negative. Yeah. We're so negative. And another therapist, psychologist says that I noticed that the people that journaled what they did in the day, not just what they did, but their feelings as well. Because a lot of times, a lot of things are in our head and they're abstract. We don't know what they are. I feel like this. I don't know what it is. What nonsense is this? You're dealing with another person here. Yeah, you need to find out. You need to bloody find out what those feelings are. Yeah, go to a counselor, go to a person, and you need to find out. You go to a couples counselor, you go to a therapist, counselor, CBD, BAC, ABC. Just don't go to the LGBT.
Yeah, please.
So whoever, just invest in your marriage. And do not think that it's just going to be you two, because the thing is, you're the enemy. She's the enemy. So you're trying to solve stuff when both of you are fired. No, get a mediator, go to a neutral place and let them hear what's going on. Get other people who have knowledge, who have a know-how, that are neutral, involved, and work on this thing, because you're dealing with people here.
Exactly, very profound. May Allah bless you, Akini. Wallahi, amazing. And the thing is, what you touched upon, Sister Dopamine as well. I'm going to go to you guys as well, and Sister Ira. No, we're going to come to Mubarak. Mubarak is, mashallah, he's young. How old are you?
21.
21, mashallah. Mubarak, I think Mubarak is preparing for the the marriage, alhamdulillah. But we're going to come to as well, inshallah.
Just listen.
Yes, alhamdulillah. But we're going to come. If there's anything you want to touch upon as well, is that, you said, for example, red flags, etc. As men, I'll take from a male's perspective, with us, and I've noticed a lot. I've seen a lot of people who their first marriages always fail, but their second marriages work.
Okay.
I've seen this trend where it's, and from a man's perspective, where it comes from is the following. Men, when they marry, firstly, it's all about looks.
Yes.
It's all about looks. And when they marry and realize, I married a shayateen, this is full out jinn.
Bell.
Yeah, like 50 jinns inside her, So, I'm being honest, absolute shayateen. And then they're like, you know what? Next time I get married, the looks thing, let's work on that. Then they come to reality. They're like, okay, this girl was 10 out of 10, whatever, but she made my life living hell on earth. Now I'm not going to make the mistake. What do? Women do the same in the sense where they're like, I'm going to change this man, this bad boy. Yeah, I'm going to tame him down. I'm going to be the one. And then she realizes he's fully out of control. He's a tapped in the head guy. Yeah. And then they realize, I learned a lesson. And that's why what you said is very important, because divorce is something that is, it's not frowned upon. Why? Because learning from those mistakes shapes your new marriage. Yeah. And then you will appreciate your new marriage. This is very, very important. So to touch upon that, because these are the mistakes you make. First marriage is always, from a man's perspective, he chooses for the wrong reasons, the sister chooses for the wrong reasons, learn lessons, but they don't carry on to the second marriage. You can quickly, and then we're going to Sister Farzana, Sister Ira.
I was going to say, with these kinds of discussions, I always like to bring it back, like as Muslims,
yes,
right?
100%.
To our own type of hierarchization, right? So the best reason why we can give as, like, for example, Muslim, even now, like, if I were to ask, why is divorce bad, it will be consequentialist type argument. So you'll say you're on single parent households and all that kind of things, right? But that's a very specific kind of marriage. That's a marriage where you have children with the partner, right? Yes. All right, so already we can distinguish between a marriage where you have children with a partner and a marriage where you don't have children with a partner. Where you have children with a partner, the consequences of divorce are actually intensified. And everyone can agree that, okay, if you have kids with this person now, if you divorce, then you're putting these kids in a bad position. However, now, like, let's say, for example, you don't have kids with this person and you don't like them. What does the religion say about a man leaving a woman or a woman leaving her if she feels him repugnant? I mean, the woman came to the Prophet Muhammad and she said, "Lawla makhifatillah wasaqtu fi wajhi." If it wasn't for the fear of God, I would have spat in this man's face. فَفَرَّقَ بَيْنَهُمَا وَكَانَ هَذَا أَوْلُ خُلْعًا فِي الإسلام. The Prophet ﷺ, in Bukhari actually, he divorced them immediately. Yes. But why? Because in Islam, I'm sorry to say, there isn't this idea that you should be with someone you do not like. Yes. I've given two pieces of evidence. That one, they're both actually women. And the other one with Barir and Mughith, which is a very famous hadith as well. So the only arguments we can really give is consequentialist type arguments. What's worse than divorce? Okay, we already said what kind of divorce is bad. From a consequentialist perspective, is divorce with the family. The worst thing that can come apart from that, from a divorce, is pain. Okay, heartbreak from either the man or the woman or both. I understand that, but like, what's worse? Pain for 2 years, because according to the study that was done in, I think it was Bristol University, post-traumatic grief. By the way, men spend longer time to recover from heartbreak than women, apparently. The upper limit is 18 months, effectively. Like anything other than 18 months, heartbreak, people would not really report it, like 5% or something like that. After 18 months, the majority of people, the majority of their pain is gone, according to that study, post-relationship grief. So apart from pain, heartbreak, you've got heartbreak, then you've got the kids. And you don't have the kids in the situation, then you've got to deal with heartbreak if you love the person. If you didn't love the person, you don't even need to deal with that. So, okay, so in that situation, here we're still faced with a certain situation. Being married and then getting divorced, situation A. You don't have kids with this person, the consequences of the children being not in the equation is there. Or, let's say, for example, you're not married, but you're addicted to pornography. You're not lowering your gaze. You're not doing nothing that Islam is saying. You're distracted. You're actually still in pain from your previous, whatever it may be, right? Which of the two situations is better? For me, even if, I'm not going to say like these scholars who say marriage with the intention of divorce, they actually mention with the intention of divorce, right? I'm not going to say go into any marriage. I agree with you. I mean, with anyone, right? Do not go into any marriage with the intention of divorce. But what if you go into a marriage and say the following, with the following intention? I'm going to go into this marriage and we'll test the waters. I don't know if I'm going to be with this woman for the rest of my life or not. How about that? Because that intention for me is better than going into like effectively pornography addiction or zina, which are the two big ailments of the time. Let me say something. Like, do you know when we say that times have changed? It's true. But let's consider the following. Asma bint Umays is an individual, yeah? Look at the attitude. This is a Sahabiya. Look at the attitude towards divorce that people had towards her. She was Sahabiya. She had married 4 of the Sahabis, men. She had married Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ja'far, ibn Abi Talib, yeah? She had married Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and one other person who I forget who it is. And even to the point where she was asked the question, like, who from your husbands did you like the most? And then she said, from the older men, it was Abu Bakr, and from the younger men, it was Ali. And then it was Ja'far. And then Ali said, what about me? You've left nothing for me. So it was all laissez-faire and comical and you would not imagine in today's age that kind of attitude towards divorce being the case.
100%.
Like, okay, this woman has married this guy and his friend here, or his cousin. Do you get what I'm saying? It's out of, like, imagine this one woman has married this guy and his friend over there. Like, it's, to be honest with you, it's a bit off key. Like, in today's age, we would accept it. But what I'm saying is
what you're saying is
just to wrap up. The point is that if there's any age in human history where we need to have more of a laissez-faire attitude towards nikah, in my opinion, it's today's age. Why? Because if you don't have that laissez-faire attitude, then the repercussions are quite bad.
Okay, I think it's very important to understand that it's not a taboo thing. We don't want to make it seem like divorce is something that you cannot do and it's sinful, etc. Not. But can we, before we go to the Ishan, because I think this is
I've been waiting for a while now.
Dash it in the bin then, innit?
Yeah, sister, you can speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, I want to touch upon, you mentioned pornography. So marriage is not a cure for a man or a woman who are addicted to pornography, or a toxic person, or a mummy's boy. You know, where sometimes the mothers will say, oh, he'll be okay once he gets married. So marriage is not a cure for these type of people. The other thing is, I work with sisters and couples, and at the moment, from the past, now people are starting to get educated on not trying to change people. But that was one of the common denominators, that I'm going to change this person, or I'm going to change her once they get married. That's a big problem. And many, many, many divorces have happened because of that reason. And the other one is where the parents think marriage is a cure for their sons that are, off-road and, going the other way. So, I don't want to mention each thing, but we can all agree on that marriage is not a cure for these type of people.
Do you know what pornography and zina? That's a prophetic advice. So when
It
the
is.
Prophet ﷺ was asked, "Man, ya ma'ashar al-shabab, man istata'a minkum ba'a falyatazawwaj." Whoever can of you, let him get married.
Let him get married.
So in other words,
but,
what the Prophet's advice towards marriage was pretty laissez-faire. It's like, whoever can do it, just do
okay,
it.
let's talk
And
about the
whoever can't,
people that can't
you know
get
what I mean?
married, that should not get
fast.
married.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Okay. You mentioned fasting, but then there are
do it.
there are individuals
The
such
topic
as
is, guys, the topic has gone somewhere else. I'm so sorry, forgive me.
because we're
but
talking
the-
about we're talking about why marriage is
Press that
great.
button, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Just press it, yeah.
I'm trying to stay on that. Why
Yes.
marriage is
so
a
why
great
is
thing.
marriage is breaking down?
So,
It's very
okay,
important for us to think of it.
changing people,
Yes.
thinking marriage is a cure for toxic people, marriage is a cure for mummy's boys. If you're going to get a mummy's boy married off, he'll always be a mummy, but he'll see that woman as his mother. And if she doesn't, behave like that or deliver in that way, then he's going to think that marriage has failed.
I think one of the biggest.
So it's
I'm
not
gonna-
just...
I'm going to come to Zishan and sister Ira as well. The thing is, the biggest, what I've realized from little that I speak to around people, because I'm dealing with that situation, like I'm looking at what's going on, is this third people getting involved, other people getting involved. So it's the crux, one of the crux of the matter. What it is that people go to advice. You need to understand, I see marriage like this. This clothing that I'm wearing and my wife wears, it's tailored to us. It's not, when I go and buy clothing, I have a size, a waist size. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Same with my wife. It's like a clothing that we're wearing. It's like somebody else coming to my marriage and saying, hey, why don't you try my clothes on? And I'm like, oh, it might not fit me. It might be too big for me. No, I think it'll be good. The reason I'm giving this example is because what happens is when marital disputes happen, the husband or the wife goes to somebody else and now they're giving advice based on their marriage and their standards. And they're like, brother, yours is bespoke for you and mine is bespoke for me. Yes, general nasiha you can give. But what happens is then these advices are given. You should do this or you should do that. My husband's not like that. Your dynamics with your husband is totally different to mine. The nasiha you're giving me doesn't fit me. It's the clothes you're giving me. I'm wearing it and it's extra, extra, extra large. Or it's extra, extra, extra small. And I'm like, I'm a bit uncomfortable in this. He's like, no, it work. It doesn't. So one of the reasons I found is that people going and seeking advice from people who might be, mature people, but Don't give me advice based on how your marriage works. So Zishan, you press the buzzer.
Yeah, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and you're not. Well, I just wanted to let you know it means nothing. We're going to go to
Shorter than
sister.
my time.
I'm joking.
That was less than
So
my
Zishan, it's the first time you pressed, alhamdulillah. It's really sad that we have you here, but we have to. We have no choice. If you want to add some 2 pence, please, if you have anything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say what I need to say, Ali. Yeah,
And leave.
So
you have everyone has 1.5 minutes. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm joking. You got 1.5 minutes. Go.
now I've got 1 hour. So look, the thing is, today there's a great lack of boundaries. There's an attack, and the thing is, the family life, the family unit has become extremely significant because of the rise of the LGBT, and we need to bear these things into consideration. The family unit has become really significant, and that's why, rather than we keep missing the first point, which is finding your partner. We have to assume that the partner has been found. We've ticked the boxes, because I'm sure the viewers, they know that there's certain considerations, certain things that you need to look at first. Now, after that's done, there's a saying that somebody said, and I think it's very profound. And maybe people that are a bit older tend to understand this, because when you're younger, you tend to think the grass is greener on the other side. You have a lot of options, and maybe you're getting pinged here and there messages. Fair enough. They say a soulmate is somebody who you decide to make it work with. There's no one that's meant to be. It's someone that you decide that you're going to make it work with that person. And the thing is, somehow, people that are over 30, they're like 33, 35, they found their soulmate. Why is that the case? Because they've decided to make it work. They've decided we've done enough, now we're going to make it work. So it comes back to this exact thing. Make sure you've ticked your boxes at the beginning, and then make sure you have the tools in your arsenal and your tool chest that will help to deal with those arguments, because it's those arguments that people can't deal with, they can't handle, and it's them that get spiraled. At that time, you'll insult the mother-in-law, you'll say something, or you'll maybe insult someone's religion or something like that, and a person will remember that for the rest of their life. So certain things get said because those people just don't know, or you don't know how to handle that person, and people give up too quickly, I think.
True. I want to go to you as a young man. You're not married. We've all been married here. When you hear this, is it scary for you? Is it like, you know what, like this is some goodness here I could benefit from? No. He's a young boy. He's young, mashallah. He's got to be learning. So, like, what would you say, Aki? Like, how do you feel when it comes to divorce when you hear it? You know,
So what I'll say is like, definitely, it's a lot harder. I would say in this generation, the new generation of like, I'd say after 2000, it's going to be very difficult, because a lot of people nowadays, like, they're very immature and they've been raised in a very immature way, and like. I just personally, I think the best thing to do is just like not try and reinvent the wheel. Just go look at your parents, look at your grandparents. That's probably the best thing to do. And like a lot of people nowadays, they think they can change things and like make things different with.
Yeah, and he worked with them, innit? He worked with the older generation.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best approach. Try and like, go for what works, and don't try and like change it and like copying ideologies. Like, you know,
nowadays we think we know it all.
Can I?
Yeah, people act like they know more.
Sister Ira, do you want to say something?
Things.
That's right.
Anything going on? Let's go to Sister Ira because she hasn't spoken, and then Sister Opian, and then Sister.
I think Brother Zishan sort of covered everything I was going to say, but the only thing I'd like to add is that a lot of us need to get our head out of the sky and come back to earth, because we have really high expectations and we almost romanticize what marriage is. We look at TikTok for marriage couple goals, and none of that is real. I think the sooner we realize that it's all fake, the better it'll be for our own selves. I think we need to start looking, like other brother said, closer to home. So rather than looking for role models online, look at home, look at how your dad treats your mum. And if he doesn't treat her right, learn from that. Understand that that's not how I'm going to treat my wife or my husband. You know, not everybody has great examples at home, but you can still put two and two together and make it work regardless. And I think we have a low tolerance level and we have high expectations. And how is that supposed to even work? And I think that's another issue. We don't have patience. We lack communication skills. We lack listening skills. We communicate to argue and to be right rather than solve the problem.
We listen to reply rather than listen to learn.
Exactly. So I think there's quite a lot of few things. I think people that are looking to get married should always look within themselves and ask themselves, like, if I was to be faced with this problem tomorrow, say my husband wants to go and get a second wife, how would I deal with it? Like, ask yourself, what strategies do I have that I can implement and that I can actually put on the table? We don't look within ourselves. We just think, right, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to just go with the wind. And when it's time to get married, I'm going to find somebody and get married. But we don't do the inner work. And I think that's where the issues happen, because if you've got trauma that you've unhealed from, that's going to bleed out eventually. And then you almost expect marriage to fix that. And it's like, oh, the other person, your better half, as they call it, to fix that. And your better half isn't going to fix that. You need to fix that. You don't take baggage with you, whatever it is. So yeah, I think doing a lot of inner work is going to help have a successful marriage, having patience, definitely. We get worked up and ticked off so quickly these days. And it's like people have become overly sensitive. You can't even make a joke without them crying about it. Yeah. And I think we need to toughen up a little bit. We've become very weak over the years.
And you know what's interesting, Ira? Like, for example, if you look at the Qur'an and the Sunnah, yeah? Like, there was a time where the Prophet ﷺ, his wife gave him a hard time. This is the best man to walk this earth and the best of women, yeah? But he didn't divorce them.
One of them did.
Yes, one of them. But if you look at generally and what they were doing and stuff, there was so many situations where he was in a peak situation where, at one point he left them all and they feared, like, did he divorce them? But the point is this. They went through those struggles, ups and downs, but divorce, and again, when it's not that it's frowned upon, but the divorce was not really mentioned. But today, anything small that happens, divorce. Divorce. And you're looking at it, and the Prophet ﷺ dealt with so many. Imagine going through all of that and then coming home, and sometimes the wives are causing issues. But he never ever, I would say never ever, but majority of the time he didn't resort to it and he was dealing with it. So this is dopamine, and yeah.
I was going to mention about, add to the brother, sorry, I don't remember his name. Yeah. Sorry. He mentioned about people giving up too quick and stuff like that. And when it comes to the problems in the marriage, people having arguments and fighting. And a client of mine, and she doesn't mind me mentioning this, it was the end of the marriage, right, according to what happened and the scenario. And she asked her dad, what should I do in this case? And her dad said to her, it all depends on how much you can tolerate. So based on what her dad said to her, it depends on how much you can tolerate. She then went away and said to the husband, should we get counselling? That was refused, right? So based on his refusal, it ended and resulted in divorce. So a lot of people are not exercising the things that are actually available to them, which is counselling. It's shunned upon. And I think it actually can save a lot more marriages if people actually looked into...
From you guys' experience, does counselling, like marriage counselling, does it help save marriages? Because in the Qur'an, we do have this, إن خفتم شقاق بينهما فبعثوا حكما من أهله وحكما من أهلها. If you fear, this is one thing that if you pay attention to the tenses here and the persons in that ayah, if you fear that they're going to divorce each other, bring a judge from their family and her family and a judge from his family, right? Mm-hmm. So it's as if it's the community initiative. The community should take the initiative to save the family, the marriage.
The community is destroying it now. They're coming together to destroy it.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, in terms of this marriage counselling and stuff, like, to what extent do we have evidence to show that it's effective?
Well, a lot of people don't opt for it. That's the problem. We don't even know. We don't have enough results because a lot of people
it's worth a try kind of thing.
Yeah,
100%.
100% because I feel like
100%.
if you've got that to the end of the marriage where you're both just disagreeing on everything and it's got physical, some people are fighting physically. People are fighting over the kids. Kids are seeing this. And one of the spouses say, let's get counselling, let's get therapy. We can't communicate, we can't cooperate. Let's get help from the outside, whether it's an imam or professional.
Like, from the Prophet, there was a famous hadith where it's not counselling, but it's kind of like arbitration.
Yeah,
do you know
arbitration.
No, it's like Aisha radiallahu anha and the Prophet had an argument.
Okay.
And then afterwards, like, they said, let's bring a third party to sort it out. Mm-hmm. So they started rattling off names and like, the Prophet, she was like, no, he's going to take your side too much, etc.
Okay.
So they came to the conclusion that it's going to be like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, yeah? You know this? What? I'm mentioning hadith.
I know you are. I'll let you finish the hadith and then... I'll let you finish the
Okay,
hadith.
fine. Anyway, what happened was, so Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came to the house, yeah? And then when he came in, as soon as Aisha started complaining about the Prophet, he went mad. He started like lashing out and stuff like that. And so, obviously, the Prophet ﷺ told him to leave because he brought over this. He brought him over to solve the situation, not to make it worse. So he was making it worse. But when he left, the Prophet ﷺ said, look, you see how I got him out of there, I got him out of there, And then Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came back and he said that, so you call me over in times of peace, but you don't call me, you call me over in times of war, but you don't call me over in times of peace. The point being is...
just use the negative outcome.
No, I'm not saying that's negative. I'm saying that proves your point in a sense, that it's good to bring a third party into the mix and stuff like that.
What was the end result of that hadith? What happened?
What happened was that he wasn't effectual. It was better for them, like in that situation, for them to solve it by themselves. And then he brought them back in. I'm just saying it can work for some people.
That's an ideal scenario, actually. Yes. Sorry to cut you. That's an ideal scenario because some people actually go to marriage counselling, right? And then just one session, they start to communicate better. And then they're like, actually, we can reason with each other.
Okay, you know what, Sister Dawah, you know what, should I tell you something?
It's like antibiotics. You have to take the full course. Some people just go for one session, think we've learned everything now.
It's true, but you know what?
A Muslim counsellor definitely helps.
Sorry, I have to add.
Sister Dawah, yes, please.
When we talk about counselling as well, it's got to come from both sides. It's got to be agreeable. Like you have a lot of times it's women going to the counsellor, okay? Because women are women and we're always crying and moaning, okay?
And always asking for talaq.
We try.
It's true.
We try to save the
It's actually the study that showed that 60 to 75%.
And we are the compromisers. We are the compromisers, right?
True. You guys are the compromisers, yes.
We're the compromisers, as we should be, who were created to compromise.
Yes.
So it's always the woman going. And I'm no offence to the guys, but most of the time, the men, do not want to go to this because I don't know why.
Go to what?
Counselling.
That's actually very true. You're not going to call out the brothers. They should.
My question to the brothers is, why do you not want to go? If you want to save your marriage, why would you not?
What if he doesn't want to go? It's like...
Well, it's to save your marriage.
True.
Okay, can I answer
guys.
your question?
Yes, please, Sister
The
Faza.
question
We've got 5 minutes. We're going to end this
Brother
because we haven't got...
about does counselling really work? Now, if you have an understanding of counselling, you have an understanding of counselling, you won't be saying that.
No,
Why?
That's what I'm
Because the thing is, when you go to a counsellor, the first thing, as a Muslim counsellor, the first thing I ask is, do you pray Salah? What is your relationship? Yes.
Really?
Are you on deen?
You do that, sister?
Yes.
May
Are
Allah
you on
preserve
deen?
you. Wallahi, we need
because
more of you, inshallah.
Your relationship and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is priority. That is priority. Because, between two people, who is the third? Shaitan. Shaitan is there to break your marriage. He will whisper to the, waswasa to the wife and waswasa to the husband.
It's true,
She's not worth it. You can do better, especially now with Facebook and social media. It's easy. You just go click up and that's it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but then, same goes with the sisters. They're flicking through Facebook and Instagram, everything. This brother is practicing, my husband's not. This brother prays 5 times a day, all these kind of things. So that is the first thing that, is fixed. So start praying your salah, make that solid. And then we go on to self-reflection. Now, why do marriages fail? Because we're attacking each other. We're not reflecting on ourselves. So a counselor or a therapist will teach you the frameworks. For example,
another thing about a counselor is by definition, a counselor is not supposed to necessarily tell you what to do. And they're not supposed to judge. 100%. They're supposed to guide you. They're supposed to help you reach your own conclusion. And I've seen this a lot with counselors. Unfortunately, they're not following this golden rule. And the thing is, and a lot of brothers have complained saying, we go to this counselor, they're siding with the missus, or like this or like that. So
then they probably haven't got
the golden rule here.
Before, bro.
So that's the thing. Sometimes one session is done, and then that session is skewed. They're not following the golden rule. They're not following ethics, and because of that, people may cancel that. But also, a man feels that he's in charge of his relationship, and he feels that it's a sign of weakness to give control to somebody else. So again, this is something that I think it's a niche. It's something that's missing within our community, that we have good counsel. I mean, unfortunately and sadly, that's why you've got people like Jordan Peterson that have taken advantage of this. And if we think of a comparison in the Muslim community, I don't think there's anybody that's as charismatic that speaks. Well, he's up and coming, Yeah. Watch this space. I'm making. Come on.
Okay, can I just touch on what Brother Zishan said there, that brothers are going to counsellors. Judging by what Brother Zishan just said, they're not counsellors. they can't be counselors if they're putting their own biased thoughts and belief system into guiding someone else. You can't do that as a counselor, psychologist, or you can't do that.
Okay, all right.
Maybe,
all right, guys.
I'm not saying, I can't say anything.
One second.
No.
Okay, guys, in a nutshell, we need to wrap this up because it went for quite a bit. I think it was very, very interesting, alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you guys. And like we said before, guys, the solution is in the Qur'an and the Sunnah. And of course, the psychiatrists and the marriage counselors, etc. Then go to that. But please start with that, inshallah. And hope you guys benefited from this episode,
and
inshallah.
work on yourselves as well.
Work on yourselves as well, inshallah. Yeah, definitely work on yourselves as well. Till next time from The Bitter Truth with amazing guests, our honorable sisters. May Allah bless them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever builds a masjid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. On that day where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that our books will be given and every little atom weight of good deed you've done will be there. And imagine you see a mountain and you're like, what a lucky person, which righteous person? And Allah says, this is for you. For me? Yes. What did I do? You allowed people to pray. You built a masjid. I never had the money to build a masjid, oh Allah. You helped, you gave towards it, and Allah gives you the reward of as if you've built it. Donate now, guys, and do not delay. And share the video for extra rewards.